with Fred. I'm in Proverbs 1, chapter 1, verse 8 today. Let me read that and make some comments. My son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother. The first commandment with promise, as Paul said in Ephesians 6:2, pointing out that this commandment is most definitely doctrinally applicable to Christians. Ephesians 6:2, honor thy father and mother, which is the first commandment with promise, that it may be well with thee, that thou mayest live long on the earth. Exodus 20, verse 12, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Deuteronomy 5:16, honor thy father and thy mother, as the Lord thy God hath commanded thee, that thy days may be prolonged, that it may go well with thee in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. One of the ways that Satan has undermined this commandment is to have the popular culture ridicule and mock the wisdom of parents. We went from television's wise and loving dad and father knows best, My Three Sons, and other TV shows, to the moron dad of The Simpsons. As a whole, our culture left the 18th century ideal of the father as lord of the house, master of the house, where even portraits were painted with the father's head above the rest of the family, to a more egalitarian view with everyone being of equal standing. A son in the 1700s would never have thought of joking or teasing or roughhousing with father. Not dad, but father was appropriate. No disrespect was permitted. The father taught the family, or the mother taught the family. The Bible before Sunday school disrupted the lines of authority in the Christian family and gave the father an excuse not to do his job. Early American writers in the late 1700s and very early 1800s lamented that the authority of the father in a family was being undermined by the new freedoms and rights each person expected, even within the framework of the family. Then we come down to the invention of the word teenager to create a separate marketing group for business, which really put the nail in the coffin. I'm quoting from the book America in So Many Words. In the first part of the 20th century, we made a startling discovery. There were teenagers among us. Until then, we had thought of people in just two stages, children and adults. And while childhood might have its tender moments, the goal of the child was to grow up as promptly as possible in order to enjoy the opportunities and shoulder the responsibilities of an adult. The girl became the woman, the boy became the man. It was simple and significant as that. Or was it? The reforms of the early 20th century, preventing child labor and mandating education through high school, lengthening the pre-adult years. In earlier times, a person reaching adult size at age 13 or 14 was ready to do adult work. Now the adult size was achieved as soon as ever, but preparations for adult responsibilities lasted until age 18 or later. Thus, the years ending in teen became something new and distinctive. Depending on your point of view, those years were to be savored as either the best of times, combining childhood freedom with adult physical maturity, or endured as years of hazard, combining childish irresponsibility with adult urges. To match our gradual recognition of this new phenomena, we adopted new terminology. First, in the 1920s, we began to use the word teenage to speak of clothes and activities, girls and boys, in the latter cases recognizing the teen years, but still assigning them to childhood. About 2 decades later, against a backdrop of depression and war, teenager was born. The exact date is yet to be determined. The word makes a matter-of-fact appearance in a 1941 issue of Reader's Digest, but being derived from long-established teenage, it must have been around at least a few years earlier. The teenager remade our world. The concept is profoundly democratic by right of chronology. Every child, regardless of wealth or merit, can look forward to an age of vigor and independence, and it is very subversive. Why should any teenager enjoying freedom submit to the authority of adults? With the discovery of this new age, ours, the 20th, this is referring to the 20th century, has been the century of the teenager ever since. That's unquote there. So now democratic ideals constantly reshape our society and work against the Bible. Those two words are political issues that it would take too long to explain here. But let me sum up by saying that in a democracy, all lines of authority are temporary only and easily discarded because every enfranchised citizen has, quote, rights, and therefore only the will of the people, not God, matters. In a constitutional republic, we elect leaders who make decisions. We all do not vote on every issue. The family and the traditional roles of father and mother, the biblical roles, have been damaged greatly in American society over the last 100 years particularly. We're taught by our culture not to hold anyone's wisdom higher than our own, especially our mother and our father's wisdom. This tends to make people take less responsibility for obtaining wisdom. You have fathers and mothers who act and live as if they haven't matured past their late teen years, and who really don't have a whole lot to offer their children in the way of wisdom. Instead, they point to the entertainment media, such as TV or the government, or to someone with a higher college degree. Of course, these types of authority are also useless. The father's instruction and the mother's law are two things a wise and prudent person won't forsake. Sadly, though, as it says in Job 32 verse 7, days should speak and multitude of years should teach wisdom. And in verse 9, great men are not always wise, neither do the aged understand judgment. So we'll stop there. Just some things to think about, pray about. Hope you'll read your Bible, study your Bible, cross-reference the verses, pray to God for wisdom and understanding, and share your interpretation with someone else. You can purchase my comments on Amazon in Kindle or paperback form. Just follow me here or even on blogger.com. Thank you. Oh, click like and subscribe, please.